Welcome to another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. This podcast was designed to let you know that you aren't the only one that took forever to get it together. So the rabbit hole that you have stumbled down will hopefully help you understand that just when you think it's over, it's only the beginning. Just because you were dealt a bad hand doesn't mean you have to keep it. Welcome to the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast.
And what's up, you guys? This is another episode of the Knucklehead Chronicles. And so, on the last episode of Dragon Ball Z, no, I'm kidding. All right, so this is episode 4, Spinning the Block, y'all. What we're going to do in this episode is a continuation from episode 3. Now, we got into my relationship with the older lady, Shirley, is what we called her in this episode. We call her Shirley. And so this is a continuation because it's really, episode 4 is really a cautionary tale for real. Like when you're dealing with, some people, and I got some comments and I got some, some questions, not really questions, but really comments about dating older people. And everybody's like, oh, age is just a number. And that's true. Age is just a number. However, when you're dealing with people who are even because they're older, they're not as mature and as wise as we would like them to be. Because we figure, like, if you remember the last episode, I told you that this woman was 26 years my senior. And you would figure that a woman that is that seasoned, she would be more adapt to, she would be more adapt to nurturing a younger guy, almost like, not mothering, because, men don't need to be mothered, right? In a relationship. And that's the point that I'm making, that a lot of men in these older relationships, they tend to get mothered. And what happens is, when you're getting mothered, you're getting smothered, right? When mothering comes in, smothering comes in. Trust me. And they want to know where you're going. They want to know, if you have any interactions with any other woman outside of them. And that makes them insecure. So you deal with a lot of insecurity. You're dealing with an older woman. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just talking about in my case. Your case may be different because you may have someone who's seasoned and who knows how to handle the situation. I did not. And this is what this cautionary tale is about. So let's get into the
What?
Let's get into the fuckery, shall we? So there were a lot of instances where this woman, even though I had moved on, and I'm going to insert my second wife here. I'm not gonna give any names. Of course, you guys already know that. So in this particular episode, I am going to nickname her Strawberry. Strawberry. That's it. That's as far as I go. And when I tell you that this Strawberry is the one I went, up to Chicago, went and lived with her. Left her, and the biggest mistake of my life last episode, if you got it. So me and Strawberry, we're getting along, and at this point in the game, we were just getting. It was kind of one of those. It was never one of those get to know you type situations. It was just like I just jumped right into a relationship with her. That's no different in this case. I just jumped right into a relationship with her, and so we were, getting along, and but for some reason, Shirley was still a mainstay. Tried to be at least, and she just would not let this situation up for me and her go, even though we've had conversations and I've told her, we were done. Now, there are a lot of instances where our relationship got physical. Me and Shirley got physical. We're not talking about just verbal conversations anymore. And I'm gonna give you a couple of stories of that. One main story. This is early on. Me and Strawberry, early on. And I was still struggling, but I could not. Anybody who's ever had that emotional tie, we were talking about roots, in the last episode. If anybody's had one of those on them, is the emotional incapability of letting that person go, right? To me, this is Terry here, and for some reason I just couldn't let the idea of her go, even though I wanted to let her go because she was no good to me, no good at all. So again, me and Strawberry's rolling along, raising kids. She's got 3. that we're raising together. And when I tell you that my second marriage was a complete and utter, my second wife, Strawberry, and I loved her dearly. I still do. Like, to be honest with you, I still do. However, I made so many bad things and bad choices with her. It's not even funny. When I fell with Okie doke and left, in 01, they come back home. That was the situation. There's a lot of situations that I caused in that marriage that when she decided to leave me in 2010, you know, I gave her credence. What am I going to do? You know. So back to the story. Me and Strawberry got married in 2003. Again, before some of you as listening to this were born, but we got married in 2003. Just a little story with that. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last episode. I'll mention it in this one. When we got married, it was an omen. You talk about having bad omens. When we got married, this is January 23rd. I remember like it's yesterday because it was her birthday, and so this particular day, we got up and we were determined to get married, right? But it was an ice storm where we lived at the time, and that particular morning they came and cut off our water, and we didn't have any water, so we couldn't take showers, we could do anything. So I had to walk or trek from where we lived to town hall to pay the water bill. Amazingly, they were open, right? And so went paid the water bill, and I trekked back home in the snow and ice, and because we didn't have a car, right? So I walked to the town hall to get the water cut back on. They came back to cut the water on, and she was still determined. She was still determined. I love her to this day for that. She was so determined. We're getting married. Got married that day. We walked down to the magistrate's office together in the ice and the snow and got married. Very crazy story, but it just showed the love that she had for me and the depths. Because when I left in 01 and went back to North Carolina, despite the reason why or how I left Chicago, when I called her and talked to her, she was so, I won't say infatuated, but she was so in love with me that she said, I'm going to go wherever I want to be wherever you are. And she packed up herself, packed up the kids, came to North Carolina. Love her to this day for that. So she gets done in North Carolina. We get married in 03, and things were just good. We worked at the same chicken plant. Now, anybody who's listening to this that are from North Carolina, they know what chicken plant I'm talking about. Very famous chicken plant, but we worked there in Monroe, North Carolina together. And we worked the same shift, things just like and we just had so much. Our marriage was tumultuous, and it wasn't nothing that she did. It was me. It was all me. Like the shit. I know some people say you can't take all the blame. Yeah, I can. And this one, like, so. But anywho, we're at the same place, and we were just chugging along. Now, Shirley's still in the background, trying to work some stuff out. So, one particular instance. And one particular story, and I'm gonna tell this story. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna tell you the story. I'm gonna give you my cautionary tale, and I'm gone. Right. So this one particular evening, or one particular day, she had made a call. This is from before my auntie and my mother passed away. My mother died in 07. My auntie died in 08. So just to give you a little bit of background. So somehow she got a hold of my auntie, my Auntie B. Mr. Dilly, rest in peace, Auntie. I got a hold of my auntie, and my auntie kind of spilled the beans on us, right? It's not like we were hiding or living on the witness protection. We were just living our life, And so my auntie decided to tell her where we lived, right? So I don't know why she would. To this day, I still don't know why she. I always wanted to ask her, and of course, I'm never going to have the ability to ask her, but she's not here anymore. But I always wanted to ask her, like, Auntie, why would you tell her, where we live? But I never did get a chance to ask her. Anyhow, she tells my auntie. Well, my auntie tells her exactly where we live. So one particular morning, we was getting ready to go to work. Now, my Strawberry and I had different rides to work. I went in a little later. She went in earlier. So we had two different rides. And so, again, just to remind you, we did not have a car. So she went to work that morning, and I go out, I look out my front door, and I recognize her vehicle because she had a green 4Runner. I never will forget it. And I look out my front door, and we had some trees that kind of grew out on the road. We lived on a back road, not a main highway, just on a back road. But these two trees, so it was like she could park behind the trees, and all you can see is her headlights. Now I'm looking in the front door, and I'm like, dang, that truck looks awful familiar, awful familiar. And I was like, no, that ain't her, that ain't her. But what I failed to realize is, what I didn't know was coming was
emotional damage.
So anyway, I am. So look at the front door. I see her truck. I didn't think anything of it. And so my ride came to pick me up. So I get in the car, and we're going to work, and we're almost out of our hometown. Now she follows us. I looked at my mirror. I said, I think it's my ex behind us. So we pulled over, on the side in the parking lot, actually, of a grocery store, right outside of my hometown. It's still in my hometown, but right outside of it. So we get out, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? Why are you following me? I'm trying to get you to come back home. I mean, it was just the whole big, scene that she made. Now, where it got tricky was because I didn't know she was on demon time. When I tell you, she wanted to fight for her man. She literally wanted to fight for her man. So we had to have a discussion. I was like, well, I'm not going anywhere with you. I'm not. And we got to this argument. It lasted maybe 20 minutes, and before I knew it, she put her hands on me. Now, I don't condone violence. To this day, I still feel bad for what transpired that day. But when she put her hands on me, it was kind of like it triggered me. So I remember, throwing them back, and before I knew it, I had her, I was choking her out on her vehicle. It was like, stop, this is crazy. I'm not going to go back with you. Da, 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 da. And we got to, it was terrible, So I had to end up filing a restraining order against her because the cops got involved. So the cops come and they're like, they take her because my witness, my ride, he told them, hey, she put her hands on him first. And so they ended up arresting her. So I had to go back to my hometown. I had to file a restraining order because this woman came all the way from Charlotte. Now that's 60 miles from where my hometown is to where Charlotte is. And they ended up arresting her. I'm sitting in the courthouse and I had to file a restraining order. Now, I don't know if people are going to listen to this and be like, man, you bitched out on me. No, it's not. I was finally tired of it. I think, and then that was my final straw. And I had done a lot of things, with this woman. I've done a lot of things, to a lot of stuff from her. I was angry at the fact that she used my family, trying to find out where we live. I mean, she just, just all these backwards tactics, And after a while, you get tired, Now, I will say this in closing, you guys, that, don't do that. Don't put your hands on people. Saying that goes both ways. Women to men to women, don't put your hands on them because you just never know what people are going through. And I totally understand that, her love for me, I don't even think it was love. I think it was more so lust and control that she wanted. And I fed into that. And I fed into it because of what the emotional connect that we had. So my cautionary tale before I go is be careful of who you share energy with. See, like when we society's a little different today than it was back then. This is back in '05, maybe in '04. Things different, from then to now. But I would say this in this cautionary tale is that be careful of who you share your emotional space with, because everybody isn't as mature as you would like them to be. Trouble lurks around every corner, even in relationships. And if, I think back then, they didn't have a name. It was like, oh, she just, but today's society, they call it crashing out. And that's exactly what she did. She crashed out on me. And you have to be careful when people crash outs because, some people they can't handle it. Emotional stability is, that comes with work. It comes with maturity. And just because you're older doesn't make you mature. I'm an older gentleman. I'm the big fish in the little pond now. So I have to be careful. I don't want to deal with nobody if I can't, because I can't get with and control my emotional stability. There's no way in the world I can deal with somebody else's right now, especially with my cancer journey. And I got to update on that. It was like around 8, this Wednesday. Just be very careful. I'm not going to say that I wish I had never met her, but I will say that I wish I would have not jumped into it so quickly with her and created the atmosphere or the space for her to do me like she did me, because I did not check the whole motherly thing. It came back to bite me. And because I didn't say that, another thing, when you say stuff, be a man or woman of your word. If you say something, stand 10 toes down. See, back in the day, I couldn't do that. I could do it now, but I couldn't do it then. I would say, oh, I don't want to be with you. And then the next breath, we hunch. You know what I'm saying? So it emboldened her to act the way she acted. A lot of it's not just, maybe it wasn't just her being crazy. Maybe it was partly I was giving her mixed signals because I was a young man and all thing I wanted was the coach. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be honest. And which was a mistake because, like I said before, it emboldened her to be this senile crazy black woman who all she wanted was, the thought of being with me. I wasn't that great of a guy, back then. I was still young in the game, you know what I'm saying? And so this whole story with me choking this woman out because she put her hands on me. I'm not saying she put her hands on me. Now, I told you there's another story. I missed it. It happened like earlier, maybe 6 months before that, where she pulled a knife on me. This woman was physically intimidating. She did not play like she was from South Carolina. She didn't play no game. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the fact that I put my hands on her, I had to pay for that. But after that, I had so many bad dreams, and God really dealt with me, about that. And so, and I haven't put my hands on a woman since. You know what I'm saying? Even though she initiated, I haven't put my hands on a woman since. So be mindful of who you share your emotional space with, because people, like I said before, again, this is a cautionary tale. Be mindful because you don't know where people stand. You don't know where they are, and we have been fighting this fight for years. I've been gone for years, married a whole other woman, you know what I'm saying? And she was still trying to get me back. So listen, it's not worth it. Evaluate the situation that you're in. If you're in a relationship right now and you're thinking about it and you don't understand, you don't know, you know what I'm saying? Please evaluate, because now trauma is a real thing. PTSD is a real thing. There are certain things that I see now that if it remotely comes close, it triggers my PTSD. That's why I don't go out a lot. I don't hang out with, with a lot of people, and it triggers the PTSD. So be mindful of who you deal with, because some things in life you cannot take back. I promise you can't. And it will affect you. And it will hurt you. Now, going into episode 5, going to get into more of with Strawberry. That marriage was a little different, but it was a great marriage. We'll get into that in episode 5. But I hope you enjoyed episode 4. Again, you can follow the podcast at Knucklehead Chronicles podcast.podbean.com. Listen to it on Spotify and YouTube. And I guess I will get you guys down the line at some point or another. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the Memorial Day. I hope you're barbecuing. I didn't get to go to a barbecue this year. It's okay. I like barbecue too. Damn it. All right. But anyway, I love you guys. I will see you guys down the line.
Thank you for listening. I hope I didn't fry your brain too bad. Come back through and give me another chance. You can listen on all platforms and visit us at knuckleheadchroniclespodcast.podbean.com. Until next time, in the words of the incomparable Jerry Springer, take care of yourself and each other.